Okay, so hopefully you finished watching the first video in the video series, and what we're going to do in this video is look at how we can implement that using repl.it. The software that the guy uses in the tutorial is called an IDE, and it's something that's installed on his computer. We're using Chromebooks, so we have to use a slightly different approach. So anyway, I'm going to go into repl.it. I'm going to go into my repls. Now, as you can see, I've got organised. I've placed all my repls in different folders and created new folders. Here's the new one I created yesterday. Now I'm going to create my repl.it in here. It's going to be web, and I'm going to call it HTML5 canvas, and I'm just going to hit create. Now, as you know, repl creates a bunch of files, template files with basic content or structure. Now, I've actually created all of the code and done all the hard work for you, so I've already watched some of the videos and then figured out how to implement that in repl.it. So at this point, all you need to do is go back to the assignment, open up the HTML canvas tutorial document, and we're going to start with the HTML code. What we're going to do is just copy and paste the code across. So click, drag, copy, go into repl.it, click, drag, delete, Control-Shift-V. Remember, Control-Shift-V strips away any formatting, which actually can be a problem if you're copying and pasting code from the internet. Sometimes you can get issues. So Control-Shift-V. I'm then going to go back and grab the JavaScript, Control-C, go into my script file, Control-Shift-V, and lastly I'm going to go in and grab my style, Control-C, go in and Control-Shift-V. Now, as you know me, I like to get organised, so I'm going to create a bunch of folders to put these files in. First one I'm going to do is the style. I'm going to call the folder CSS. I'm going to drag the CSS file into the CSS folder. I'm then going to create another folder called JS, short for JavaScript. I'm going to drag the script file into that folder. And lastly, I'm going to create another folder for images, because I know he's going to be telling us how to insert images onto our canvas later in the tutorial series. So at this point, your folders and your files should all look like this. I'm going to run it. If it doesn't look like what you're seeing on the screen, then there's probably something that you've done wrong. Just go back, look at what you might have done wrong, do it again. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is talk to you about what the code means, very briefly. So, HTML. This line merely links to the style sheet, which is in this folder. This line here in the header links to the JavaScript folder and the JavaScript file. Coming down, this tag here, the body tag, contains an instruction which you may not have seen before. And all this tells the browser to do is, when the page loads, execute some code in the JavaScript called main. Now I'll explain that when we get to the JavaScript folder. Moving down, we've got a couple of containers in which we're going to place some text and the canvas itself. So the first container at the top, interestingly, both containers are of class content. Now, why did I do that? Well, because both boxes share certain style. They both sit in the middle, so their margins are the same. The background color is the same. The border is the same color. So I'll explain that a little bit more when we get into style document. So both of the boxes are of class content, but this upper box is called content banner. And when we apply the style, the subclass content banner will just have some slightly different style that only relates to that particular box, like text style, height, things like that. So moving across, just wanted to highlight the text. So HTML5, and then there's this strange kind of sequence of symbols here, and basically what that does is it enables us to place characters that HTML uses for code, like angle brackets, inside text without the browser thinking that it's some kind of instruction. So ampersand LT semicolon tells the browser to display a left angle bracket. Ampersand GT semicolon a right bracket. And of course I just want to show you that the canvas text is bold, and I've done that using the bold tags. So coming down to the other box, the content box here, as I said, it's of class content, which means it's got the same width, the same margins, etc. But this particular box is slightly taller or deeper. Inside that box, as you can see, the indentation tells you that it's inside the box, is the canvas itself, and I've just given that an ID or a name called canvas. As the guy said in the video, if you're opening this page in a browser that doesn't support canvas, this is the message that will be displayed. So that's pretty much it for the HTML. So moving on to the style. So as I said, both boxes are of class content and they share a certain style, including margins, 5 pixels top and bottom. Left and right is auto, and as you know, hopefully that simply makes the boxes sit constantly in the middle of the page. Both boxes are 820 pixels wide. They both have a light to mid grey. Whoops, I've just changed that by accident. Whoops. It's actually probably quite a good thing that I showed you that, because it shows you how you can edit it. Okay. A border which is a light grey, and a background colour which is a mid to dark grey. Let me just run that. Moving down, as I said, the subclass banner, which relates to this box here, has a height of 60 pixels. Now the padding top instruction merely tells it to push the text down by adding padding, which is the space around the inside of the box, so that the text sits centrally vertically. The text align sets the text centrally, horizontally. The colour instruction merely tells it to display the text as white, and font sets the font to the Cedar console, which is a monospaced style font at 46 pixels in height. Moving down to the content canvas box, which is this large box here, the only difference between content and content canvas is the height, which is in this case 620 pixels high. And here's the instructions for the actual canvas element here. We're making it a width of 800 by 600. Remember that the guy in the video talked about how you have to set the style and set the height and width in the JavaScript. It's got a margin of 10 pixels, so 10 pixels around the outside, which makes it sit nice and snugly inside the content canvas box. And it's got a background colour of 240, which again we can edit and make it lighter or darker. Rewrite it. There we go, it's a little slow. Right, okay, that takes care of the style. We shouldn't actually have to change anything from this point forward. So moving on to the JavaScript, we're almost finished. So as you can see, if you remember, when the browser loads the page, it looks at the body tag and it sees this instruction, which is its cue to go to the JavaScript and run some code called main. And here it is. So function main. As the guy explains, this, in simple terms, just makes that connection between the code and the canvas element in the HTML. These two lines merely set the scroll width and scroll height, which again keeps the canvas in at the right proportions as the page changes in size. And this final line here just tells the browser to display whatever is in the content in the canvas as a 2D object, or a set of 2D objects. Again, I won't go into too much detail about that here. Now, all the code that the guy is using to display the objects and animation and things on the canvas is going to go in between these two comment tags. So again, I just want to highlight, you can add comments to code, which is really useful for people who are looking at your code. or if you come back and look at your code sometime later, it's useful to put comments in. So you can add comments to JavaScript by just going / / and then writing the message. So anyway, what we're going to do is mimic what the guy did in the video. We're just going to try it out. Fill rect 10, 10, 100, 100, and hopefully, put a semicolon at the end, that will execute. So really from this point forward, all we need to do is each time we watch another video, we just type the code in here. Now one thing you might want to do, which might be useful, is that this obviously relates to video 1. So if we go back to our folder, for the next series of videos, what we could do is fork. And what it will do is it will create another version. Now, in this case, what I might do is HTML canvas video 2. And what I can do is just go into my JavaScript and edit the code according to what he instructs us to do in video 2. So if I now go back, I should have 2 videos. Now it's not updated the name yet because there's a slight delay, I think. Oh no, video 2. And that's pretty much it for this video. One last thing I wanted to say is, just a warning really, is when you get to video 4 or part 4 and we start adding images, I will place any sort of resources that you need for that, including the image, on the classroom. And when you're watching that video, there's a point you get about 25% into the video and he executes the code and he gets the image to display. Now, because we're using repl.it and because repl.it is online, what you see on your screen may not look like what he sees, what you see on his screen, in that the image probably won't display. There's nothing wrong, only in so much as because it's repl.it, there's a timing delay. All I can say is don't panic, carry on watching the video. He does explain why there might be an issue and he puts in place some additional code, and it does get a little complicated, but just keep going with it, keep typing the code accurately, and by the end of the video, part 4 video, it will actually work and you will be displaying images. So don't panic. So anyway, I think that's it for this particular video. Good luck with the tutorial course. I probably will add some extra videos as we travel through the different videos. Good luck, enjoy.